The thing we're gonna work from tonight is the home base position. And when I'm attached, it means that he's got his grips on me set.
John Hansen is a first-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is based in Omaha, Nebraska. One of the founding members of the Blackfish, competing in the Axios Academy of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Omaha, John has spent the last decade of his life devoted to training and perfecting the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A two-time world champion black belt in Nogi in 2016 and 2017, John has been competing and winning on the world stage since 2010. He has truly given his life to the sport, and his hard work and dedication continues to pay off. He is a world medalist, Pan American champion, multi-time national champion, and Abu Dhabi Pro Trials winner. John actually began his career in martial arts by watching videos on the internet when most of his competitors already had a lifetime of experience. It was his self-driven attitude to be a world champion that drove him to learn and grow as a martial arts specialist. Having just returned from representing the United States in the 2019 UWW Grappling World Championships in Nur-Sultan, Kazakhstan, where he captured a gold medal, his sights are now set on one of the most important and challenging competitions of his life, the 2019 ADCC World Championship, September 28th and 29th in Anaheim, California. This is a glimpse into the life of a champion, how it all started. His greatest supporters, teammates, and coaches at the Academy who have become his extended family. As he faces the greatest challenge of his career in the next few days, win or lose, John will have the unwavering support of hundreds back home and throughout the country.
The thing about people don't know about John is John has dedicated his entire life to being the best in the world at jiu-jitsu. You know, you have those people out there in the world that try to become the best boxer, your Terrence Crawfords, you know, your Anthony Smith that wants to be the best in the MMA world. Well, John Hansen has set out to be the best in the world at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he's actually absolutely dedicated his entire life to it. The thing that's really unique about John is John kind of went out there and studied on his own, learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off the internet.
I really enjoyed watching Muay Thai, I liked watching boxing, I loved watching karate, but I really took to watching grappling because I wrestled when I was a child and was very terrible at it, but grappling made sense. It, you know, it made sense like math makes sense, it made sense like physics made sense. And so I started watching like elite levels of grappling right when I had gotten out of high school. Back in 2007, I was watching the ADCC on the computer, and my dad came in, and I was living at home at the time, and you know, my dad had asked me like, hey, you know, what's this? I'm like, oh yeah, I explained to him what the ADCC was, and like, you know, what Sheik Takun was, and who Sheik Takun was, and like, you know, what it meant in terms of the sport, and like, you know, these are the 16 best grapplers in each weight class. These are, you know, there is nobody better. My dad had asked me like, you know, all about it, and so I was telling him, and I said, you know, yeah, I'm gonna do this someday. And you know, my dad had laughed as anybody would, and said that after, you know, hearing what it was, and said, you know, hey man, you know, I would never, and I believe you can do whatever you want, but you better start working hard. They, you know, they've been working their whole lives for this, and so through college, watched a lot of grappling. Really wanted to learn grappling, wanted to learn jiu-jitsu, but I'm a shy kid and didn't really know anybody that trained, and so I just, yeah, just kind of watched it on the computer, practiced on a body pillow, and I went to my first tournament up in North Omaha. It was one of the best by Dana Taylor, and I won the thing, which is something that I had not expected to do. I kind of expected to be able to like ask guys, hey, you know, where do I, you know, where can I train? After I had lost to them, and you know, that didn't happen, and so then there was this awkward spot of, you know, you don't ask a guy where he trains so you can go train with him after you beat him up, and so you just kind of was stuck, still not having a place to train. So I did that a couple times, and kind of finagled around and ended up finding a gym, and that's kind of how it started.
And all of us that were Team Vage and coming through the fundamentals and stuff, we had a nice solid base, and all of a sudden John Hansen walks in the gym, and we're like, who is this kid? You know, he just had something really unique, and really what John brings in is really the modern day cutting edge of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We're bringing in as many people, heavyweight grapplers as we can get to come in here and go with John, one after the next. And one after another, John just goes right through them. One after submission, submission, submission. And I'm talking for an hour and a half, you know, with a fresh guy every, you know, minute to 2 minutes. For him to be able to do that is simply an incredible task. And it's such a pleasure to continually learn after doing this sport for 30 some years. Since I came to America, I've been doing this sport, yet I'm still learning from John Hansen all the time.
I never had any real interest in anything else other than being a world champion and getting the ADCC world champion first and then making it the ADCC. And if the other one, if it had happened in reverse order, that would have been just, I would have been just content with that.
The thing about John, he's super humble, and when he trains with you in here in the room, he's very careful not to injure you. I'm 56 years old and I grapple with him all the time, and yet I'm still able to walk out of here. If John didn't want me to walk out of here, I wouldn't walk out of here. That's the reality of it. Oddly enough, he found the perfect mate. Another Division I athlete. She was a great college swimmer, Division I, and she has the work ethic, the mindset to push him to be great as well. And she's in here training right alongside of him too.
Oh man, if it weren't for my wife, I wouldn't be where I am right now. It's crazy to think that, like, you know, all the serious competitive achievements I have in my life all came after I met my wife. Not only is she, you know, she a great, like, emotional support mechanism for me, and always, you know, keeps me, like, as a focal point of something to work for, work towards, and, you know, but she is the one who helps prep my meals. So, you know, I eat like several dozen meals a week, and she fixes almost all of them. She keeps my food not only, you know, healthy for me. She's a master's dietitian that works at the VA, but she also keeps it appetizing and tasty. She helps, you know, pick up the slack where I can't, so I can focus on my training. I mean, if it weren't for her, I would have nothing that I do.
People that don't know about John, he's an extremely smart guy. He reads books that, like, would, you know, he's given me a couple books to read, and I've gotten through about 4 pages, and I swear I'd read the whole thing, couldn't get through about 4 pages. He reads Thomas Aquinas and some of the great philosophers.
One of the things I think is so interesting about timeless works is that, you know, is that they're still applicable. Like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius was written 2,000 years ago, and his advice on how to live and how to, you know, the principles of Stoicism and how to be a man, but I mean in the modern day, how to be, you know, an adult person, are as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. Nothing really changed. I'm going to stand back and frame into it. Boom. Okay. Now keep your weight low, because you're going to drive your shin into them. Just keep it back.
In 2016, there was a shake-up, a lot of different things that happened in my life at the time, and Joe Bodler took over the role as my coach. We had 6 weeks to Worlds. He helped me win a World Championship, and then the next year he helped me repeat, and, like, not have a point scored on me and sub all my opponents. Like, so I mean, he's the guy who's going to be in my corner at the ADCC. Brian Donahoe has been the training partner that has put several months of his life on hold to help me and to be here, and months of his training on hold to, you know, play into what I need to make me better. Those 2 guys on the mat, on and off the mat, have been the most supportive guys there. Joe will, you know, go out of his way to come in on his off day to help me get better. Or we'll watch tape. They both watch footage all the time. Like, hey, John, have you thought of this? I see a guy does that. You know, I mean, it's been incredible. My father, Les Hansen, has been the biggest supporter, like, of everything that I've done in my entire life. My dad never believed there's anything that I couldn't do other than be an astronaut due to my color deficiency. He kind of pretty much told me that one right out. But my dad's believed in me ever since I was a kid, and I mean, it's weird because, you know, I've always been competing for myself, but man, you know, it's 2019, the ADCC, and it's in LA, and I was so excited to go, or hoping that I would get to go, because I wanted to be a dream that could come true in front of my dad, because my dad saw me, like, when was just some young kid that wanted to make it someday, and you know, now I'm there. Like that, I'm really thankful to be part of Team Baki. Rodrigo Baki out of St. Louis, who's you know, he's the team that Axios is under. Like all the guys that are winning at Worlds, like, I mean, they all come here to train, but they're all Team Baki. That I'm really thankful for is the team that I have here at Axios. You know, something I try to tell the guys is that, you know, is that like when I go out there, you know, it's me, but it would not be me out there if it wasn't for everybody in here, because it doesn't really matter if you know, you've been training for 6 weeks or 6 years. If you come a week at Axios, train with the Blackfish, you come again that next week, you're family, because you'd have to be crazy to do it. All the success I have because of those people, and I have because of this team.